Examining the existence of Allah in the context of correct Aqidah, Part 2. Logical evidence. This discussion focuses on the logical proof of Allah's existence. This proof is primarily used to refute those whose natural disposition and thinking have deviated rather than as the main proof to seek the truth. Essentially, the natural disposition alone is more than sufficient to believe in His existence, to feel His presence, and to contemplate His central role in our lives. Not only as Muslims but also as humans in general. Of course, the logical proof of Allah's existence discussed here is still based on Sharia evidence and does not rely on doubting something, which is commonly used by philosophers when discussing a proof. This is because Allah and everything related to Him is something we must believe in and form the basis of our faith, as faith in Allah is the core of the 6 pillars of faith. Consequently, other Sharia matters, whether beliefs or practices, will follow, while remaining within the boundaries of Sharia. It should also be understood that all logical proofs and arguments have indeed been explained and presented in the Quran, even in a more essential, concise, and easy to understand narrative. Therefore, even when discussing logical evidence, we should still be guided by the Quran. Here are some logical proofs related to the existence of Allah, along with their Sharia evidence. The argument of creation. This logical argument can be considered the strongest proof after the natural disposition, in proving the existence and presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The argument of this proof is that everything must have a creator, or in the approach of the relationship between God, the creator, and creatures, the created. It can be said every creature must have a creator. Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, stated that it is a necessity in knowledge that something that did not exist before cannot suddenly appear without someone bringing it into existence. This is a basic and universal knowledge, even a child knows this. For example, when a child is suddenly hit without knowing by whom, and when he asks who hit him, he is told that no one hit him. The child would spontaneously not believe it. Ibn Taymiyyah, Majma Fatawa, 5, 358. That is just a small matter. What about the entire universe and everything in it? Created by itself? Impossible. It is also narrated that when the Bedouin Arabs were asked about the proof of Allah's existence, they would answer, "Glory be to Allah. Doesn't camel dung indicate the presence of a camel, and footprints indicate someone has passed by? Then, the sky with its constellations, the earth spread out so wide, the sea with its waves, doesn't that indicate the existence of the subtle, the all-aware?" Ibn Kathir, Tafsir al-Quran al-Azhim. 1, 106. This logic has been conveyed in the Quran, as in His words. Or have they been created without a creator to create them? Or are they their own creators? The existence of a creation without a creator, or a creation which creates itself, is impossible, so why do they not worship their own creator? Surah At-Turayat 35. The question in this verse is nisbah familiarity, containing a sarcastic tone in its delivery while also being rhetorical, as a question that provokes and demands our intellect to think deeply. Did humans create themselves without a creator? This is certainly impossible, even simple logic would deny it. Or did humans create themselves? Clearly, this is even more impossible. So what is the truth? The truth is that there is a creator for them. Who is capable of doing that other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Ibn Taymiyyah, Ar-Rad al-Manthiki, page 253. With this short verse, Allah has refuted the absurdity in creation, and indeed nothing is created by itself, let alone creating itself. There must and has to be a creator for it, this magnificent universe, humans, and other complex creatures. This is fundamental knowledge that is intuitive and instinctive for every rational soul. The argument of harmony and balance. This logical argument explains the balance present in Allah's creations, including proportionality and precise form, one with another in harmony. For this, there are 2 arguments supporting this logical proof. First, the entire universe and everything in it have reached the pinnacle of order and harmony in their arrangement and balance. Second, all the order, harmony, and balance in the entire universe lead to the existence of an entity that meticulously designed it, namely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything Allah has created possesses harmony and wisdom, and everything is very detailed and perfect, even the smallest and most minor things have benefits and wisdom in their existence. That is the creation of Allah, which no one can match or rival even a tiny bit of the precision in details and all the balance and harmony in His creation. This logical argument has been extensively demonstrated in the Quran, where in many of His verses, Allah commands us to look and think about perfection. Allah also clearly informs us that His creations, which are harmonious, perfect, balanced, and aligned, are absolutely the result of the creation that He, Allah Ta'ala, has done. Indeed, who else can create as perfectly as Allah? Among the verses that indicate this are, "And you will see mountains on that day thinking them to be firm without moving, but they will in fact move like clouds move. It is the doing of Allah, for He is the one who makes them move. He is aware of what you do. None of your actions are hidden from Him, and He shall reward you for them." Surah An-Naml, 88. He is the being who perfected everything He created and created the human from clay without there having been a previous example of Him. He then created the human's children, after it from a delicate fluid, semen. Then He completed the creation of the human in his complete form, his soul, through the angel appointed with blowing the soul, and made for you 0 people ears so that you could hear with them, eyes so that you could see, and hearts so that you could understand. Little are you grateful for these bounties of Allah which He bestows upon you. Surah Az-Sajdah, ayat 7-9. Verily, I have created the human in the most balanced of ways and the best appearance. Then I return him to old age and childishness in the world, so he cannot benefit fully from his body when he ruins his nature and goes towards the hellfire. Except for those who have faith in Allah and do good deeds, because they, despite growing old, will get an everlasting reward, i.e. paradise, because they kept their nature pure. Surah At-Tan, ayat 4-6. The one who gave you existence after you were non-existent, and who proportioned and balanced your limbs. In whatever form He wished to create you, He created you. He favored you as He did not create you in the form of a donkey, monkey, dog, or other form. Surah Al-Anfal, ayat 7-8. The argument of human self-reflection. Although generally this logical argument falls under the first type of logical argument, the argument of creation, it needs to be mentioned specifically. This is because Allah Ta'ala directs us in His book to observe, ponder, and reflect on the creation of humans. Humans contemplate themselves, ponder their lives, and reflect on how they came into existence. Such reflection ultimately leads to one meaning: the existence of Allah, who governs them from their creation, when they were nothing, to their lives, including everything that happens and exists within it, their death, and beyond. Arguing and reasoning for the existence of Allah with this reflection argument has been directed by Allah in various verses, such as the following: I will show them my signs in the heavens and on earth. I will show them my signs within souls, so that it will become clear to them without any doubt that this Quran is the truth, without any doubt. Is it not enough for these idolaters that the Quran is true by Allah's testimony that it is from Him? Who can be a greater witness than Allah? If they were seeking the truth, they would have sufficed with the testimony of their Lord. Surely, these idolaters doubt the meeting of their Lord on the day of judgment, as they deny resurrection, and they don't believe in the afterlife. Therefore, they do not prepare for it with righteous action. Indeed, Allah's knowledge and power encompasses everything. Surah Fusil Ayat 53-54. Allah mentions that He will show His signs within themselves, indicating that there is guidance that leads to the truth about Allah Ta'ala. In another verse it is mentioned, and in the earth and the mountains, seas, rivers, trees, plants and animals that Allah has placed in them are proof of Allah's power for those who have conviction that Allah is their creator and fashioner. And in your own selves, O people, are proof of Allah's power. Do you not see to take lessons? Surah Al-Hariyat Ayat 20-21. Notice this verse, Allah directs humans on how they can find evidence of His existence. Ibn Kathir, may Allah have mercy on him, explained when discussing Surah Al-Hariyat verses 20-21, that among the signs in humans are differences in language, skin color, desires, and abilities, as well as differences in levels of intellect, understanding, movement, and conditions of happiness and misery among humans, indicating that all of this could not happen without a meticulous design. Even in human anatomy, every body part is created perfectly, placed in an ideal position, to fulfill its function and needs. All of this points to the greatness and wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibn Kathir, Tafsir al-Quran al-Azhim, 7, 391. Included in this reflection is humans contemplating how they were created, especially the process, the transition from one phase to another. From initially just a drop of sperm, then becoming a clot of blood, alaqah, and then a lump of flesh, mudghah. How then they can have body parts, have intellect, and so on until they are born, as a baby. Humans themselves would not be able to do that, to transform themselves from a drop of sperm into a clot of blood. How is that possible? Even at that time, they did not have consciousness, still just an incomplete prototype, and unable to do anything. So, who else but Allah the Almighty could do this? The argument of the universe. Essentially, this argument still falls under the argument of creation mentioned at the beginning, and it is not much different from the argument of human self-reflection, except that the difference lies in its object. In every creation of Allah, there are certainly signs that ultimately refer to His greatness, His majesty, which no one or any entity can match, especially in this universe full of mysteries, and in the complex nature of every human being. Therefore, we as rational humans are asked to contemplate and ponder it. There are many verses of Allah that direct us to reflect and observe the universe. In the creation of the heavens and the earth from nothing with no precedent, and in the following of the night and day, and the difference in their length, are clear signs for those of understanding, which lead them to the Creator of the universe, worthy alone of worship. Surah Al Imran Ayat 190. Also in Surah Yasin verses 37-40, which mean, an indication for people of Allah's oneness is that I take away the daylight as the day draws to an end, bringing the night as the day withdraws from it, until the people are in complete darkness. A sign for them of Allah's oneness is the sun, that runs to a point that Allah knows and does not go beyond that. That determination is the determination of the Mighty, who is not challenged by anyone, the knower from whom nothing of His creation is hidden. A sign for them indicating His oneness, may He be glorified, is this moon for which I have determined phases each night. It begins small, then becomes big, and then small again until it becomes similar to a twisted, old date stalk, in it appearing as thin, curved, yellow and old. These signs, the sun, moon, night, and day, each are predetermined by Allah's divine arrangement determination, and do not surpass what has been determined for them. The sun cannot catch up with the moon to change its course or take away its light, and nor can the night outpace the day and enter upon it before its time ends. All these creations, subservient or not, such as stars and galaxies, have their own courses, as per Allah's determination and protection. Surah Yasin Ayat 37-40. The argument of guidance and direction. Looking at the universal phenomenon, every living creature has what is called instinct or nature that allows it to survive in this world, to avoid danger, to maintain its life, and so on. This is not something that exists without someone giving it, but in reality, it is Allah, as its creator, who directs every living creature to be able and inclined to do or avoid something naturally. Allah Ta'ala says, Moses said, Our Lord is the one who gave everything the shape and form suitable for it, and then He guided all created things to what they were created for. Surah Taha Ayat 50. As-Sadi, may Allah have mercy on him, mentioned in his tafsir, when explaining the part of the verse then guided it. That Allah guides every creature towards the purpose and role for which it was created. This guidance and direction from Allah is universal, and can be observed in all creatures without exception. Every creature has a natural tendency to obtain the benefits that are its orientation task, and to avoid things that are harmful. Even animals that do not have intellect are given adequate instinctive abilities by Allah to meet their life needs. That is why animals can find food, avoid threats, care for, and raise their young, reproduce, and so on. As-Sadi, Taisir al-Karim ar-Rahman, page 506, Nashr bin Abdullah al-Qifari, D. Rasat Fayom al-Aqidah, 1, 130-140. These are among the arguments, or logical evidence, to prove the existence of Allah, or as a reinforcement of faith for us as Muslims who have acknowledged the existence of Allah as a postulate without needing any proof. Finally, it should be emphasized that logical arguments for understanding religion, especially those related to belief in divinity, remain secondary foundations. The primary foundations are still the Sharia evidence, both the Quran and Hadith. However, knowing and understanding logical arguments is not a bad thing and is not entirely wrong. Because especially in this discussion, Allah Ta'ala also directs us to pay attention to all the signs and phenomena in the universe. Both the microcosm, the complexity of humans and animals, and the macrocosm, the earth, sky, and universe. Hopefully, the explanation of the logical arguments related to the existence of Allah can serve as a supplementary argument to refute those whose natural disposition has deviated if we are faced with such a situation. Wallahu ta'ala alam bis-shawab. Wa shallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad walhamdulillah. Author Abdurrahman Waridi Sarpad.